The gleaming corridors of Galactic Council Station hummed with activity as Lieutenant Anna Reed stepped off the transport shuttle. Her plain black uniform and modest height made her seem unremarkable among the towering alien delegates. At just under 6 feet tall, she was dwarfed by the massive Craxians who dominated the station's politics. The station's artificial gravity felt slightly lighter than Earth standard, making her movements smoother as she followed her escort, a bored-looking Craxian official named Dex. His ridged, gray-scaled skin rippled with barely concealed disdain as he led her through security checkpoints. The human representative, Dex announced flatly at each checkpoint, not bothering to use her name or rank. Anna maintained a pleasant, slightly nervous smile, watching as the Craxian guards exchanged knowing looks. She had expected this reception. After all, humans were the newest species to join the Council. The main chamber of the Galactic Council took her breath away, despite her careful preparation. A vast dome of transparent metal revealed the star-studded expanse of space above, while hundreds of delegates from dozens of species conducted their business below. The Craxians dominated the space, their 8-foot frames and battle-scarred armor making them impossible to ignore. Your species assigned sector. Dex pointed to a small desk in a corner, far from the central speaking platform. Try not to disturb the important discussions. He turned and walked away without waiting for a response. Anna settled into her workspace, activating her data terminal and beginning her observations. The Craxians' behavior pattern was immediately apparent. They interrupted smaller species, dismissed their concerns, and monopolized speaking time during general sessions. Most troubling were the fearful glances from the other, lesser species when the Craxians passed by. During her first council session, Anna raised her hand to speak on trade regulations. The Craxian chairman, Lord Vex, looked right through her as if she didn't exist. She tried again during the next topic, and this time he acknowledged her with obvious irritation. "The human delegate wishes to speak," he announced, his deep voice dripping with mockery. Perhaps she would like to share her species' vast experience in interstellar matters. Scattered laughter echoed through the chamber, mainly from the Craxian section. Anna stood, keeping her voice steady and her posture slightly uncertain. "Thank you, Chairman. I merely wish to ask for clarification on the proposed tariff structures for developing worlds." "Tariffs are set by those with the power to enforce them," Lord Vex replied dismissively. "Next speaker." As Anna sat down, she noticed a small green-skinned delegate from the Meyer species, giving her a sympathetic look. During the lunch break, the Meyer delegate, who introduced himself as Cal, approached her table. "They treat all of us this way," he whispered, his large eyes darting nervously around the room. "Ever since they developed their new weapon systems, the Craxians have become increasingly aggressive. Many of us fear they're planning something unfortunate." Anna nodded, maintaining her facade of naive concern, while her trained mind cataloged every detail. Surely the Council has procedures to prevent any species from becoming too dominant. Cal's bitter laugh told her everything she needed to know. Procedures are only as strong as those who enforce them. The Craxians have been systematically weakening Council oversight for the past cycle. None of us are strong enough to challenge them. As they spoke, a shadow fell across their table. A human man in Craxian military dress stood there, his enhanced height and cybernetic implants marking him as a traitor to Earth. "Making friends already, Lieutenant Reed." His smile didn't reach his eyes. "I'm Commander Marcus Black, Craxian Defense Force. To be careful about spreading concerns among the delegates." Anna watched him walk away, noting how the Craxians treated him with marginally more respect than other species. The pieces were starting to fall into place. Earth wasn't the only target of Craxian manipulation. As she returned to her desk, Anna began composing her first real intelligence report beneath the cover of routine diplomatic correspondence. The game had begun, and the Craxians had no idea who they were really dealing with. The mandatory physical evaluations for all Council representatives took place in the station's vast training facility. Anna arrived early, wearing loose-fitting exercise clothes that concealed her muscular frame. The Craxian medical officer, Dr. Rex, towered over her with a scanning device. Humans, he muttered, checking his readings. Such fragile bone structure, such inefficient muscle density. He made no effort to hide his contempt as he recorded her baseline measurements. The evaluation course looked challenging. Obstacle courses, strength tests, and combat simulations designed to assess each species' capabilities. Anna watched as several Craxian representatives demonstrated their impressive abilities, scaling walls, and lifting weights that would crush most humans. When her turn came, Anna carefully orchestrated her performance. She stumbled slightly on the running track, maintaining a speed well below her actual capability. During the strength assessment, she lifted only the minimum required weight, letting her arms shake with apparent effort. Commander Black watched from the observation deck, his cybernetically enhanced eyes narrowing as she worked through the course. She could feel his gaze analyzing her every move, looking for any sign of deception. Anna gave him exactly what he expected to see: a weak human struggling to meet basic requirements. The combat simulation was the trickiest part. Anna had to demonstrate enough skill to pass while hiding her true abilities. She chose basic defensive moves when the training drones attacked, deliberately missing obvious counterattack opportunities. Her movements were clumsy enough to look untrained but not so awkward as to reveal her act. Pathetic, one Craxian warrior spat as she finished the course. They send us their weakest as representatives. This is an insult to the Council. The following days brought exactly what Anna had anticipated. The Craxians began excluding Earth from military committee meetings, citing security concerns about sharing sensitive information with physically limited species. She was redirected to cultural exchange programs and minor trade discussions. This gave her the perfect cover for her real mission. While the Craxians dismissed her to unimportant committees, Anna used her free time to explore the station's less monitored areas. Her apparent weakness meant no one paid attention when she took wrong turns or accessed public terminals. During one such exploration, she discovered something disturbing. In a supposedly unused storage area, she found crates of advanced weapons being prepared for transport. The shipping manifests showed destinations in sectors controlled by smaller Council species. Lost, Lieutenant Reed. Commander Black's voice made her turn. He stood in the doorway, his cybernetic implants glinting in the dim light. These corridors all look the same to me, she laughed nervously, playing her role. I was looking for the Cultural Affairs Office. 3 levels up, he replied, his artificial eyes scanning her. Though I'm surprised you can't find your way after 2 weeks on station. Humans usually have better spatial awareness than that. We can't all be as capable as you, Commander, Anna replied, letting a hint of admiration enter her voice. It was the perfect bait, playing to his ego while reinforcing his belief in her incompetence. That evening, Anna encrypted and transmitted her findings through channels hidden in routine diplomatic messages. The weapons shipments, the systematic exclusion of smaller species from military discussions, and the increasing Craxian presence in neutral sectors all pointed to one conclusion: they were preparing for expansion. She maintained her cover during council sessions, asking naive questions and making simple proposals that were quickly dismissed. Each dismissal strengthened the Craxians' conviction the humans posed no threat to their plans. The human representative questions the increase in Craxian patrols. Lord Vex laughed during one session. Perhaps when you understand the complexities of space warfare, you can contribute to security discussions. Anna ducked her head in apparent embarrassment, hiding her satisfaction. Let them think her weak. Let them believe humans were no threat. Their overconfidence was becoming their greatest weakness, and soon they would learn just how badly they had underestimated both her and humanity. The council chamber erupted in chaos when Commander Black strode to the central platform unannounced. His cybernetic enhancements gleamed under the artificial lights as he raised his hand for silence. Even Lord Vex seemed surprised by this breach of protocol. Honorable delegates, Black's voice boomed through the chamber. I come before you with grave concerns about Earth's representation in this council. his enhanced eyes fixed on Anna. Our human delegate has been gathering restricted information, accessing secure areas, and questioning Craxian military operations. Anna maintained her carefully crafted expression of confused innocence as whispers spread through the chamber. She could see several smaller species delegates shifting uncomfortably, knowing they had shared information with her. "These are serious accusations, Commander," Lord Vex rumbled. "What do you propose?" Black's smile was cold and calculated. "According to Article 47 of the Council Charter, I invoke the right of challenge. Let Lieutenant Reeb prove her worth, and Earth's, in ritual combat." The chamber fell silent. Ritual combat was an ancient Craxian tradition, rarely invoked but binding when called. The stakes were always high. If Anna lost, Earth would lose its council seat and all diplomatic privileges. If she won, Earth's status would be elevated, and all accusations would be dismissed. "You can't be serious," one of the elder delegates protested. "She's human. It would be murder." "Are you suggesting the Craxian Defense Force would act dishonorably?" Black's voice carried a dangerous edge. "The human can choose a champion if she wishes. Any species, any warrior." Anna stood slowly, her heart racing with carefully controlled excitement. This was the opportunity she'd been waiting for. "I accept the challenge," she said, her voice clear and steady. "And I will fight for myself." Gasps and murmurs filled the chamber. She saw Cal, her Meyer friend, cover his eyes in horror. Even Lord Vex looked uncomfortable. "Lieutenant Reed," he rumbled, "perhaps you don't understand. Commander Black is enhanced with the finest Craxian combat technology. He has won 17 ritual combats. No human could possibly." "I understand perfectly," Anna interrupted, allowing herself this small show of strength. "I accept the challenge and all its conditions." Black's smile widened. "The combat will take place in 3 days in the main arena. All delegates are required to attend." He turned to Anna. "I hope Earth has a replacement representative ready." The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. Various delegates approached her, offering warriors from their species to fight in her place. Each time, she politely declined. The Meyer delegation even tried to help her arrange an accident that would prevent the combat. "You don't understand what he's capable of," Cal pleaded as they sat in her office. "I've seen him fight. He doesn't just defeat his opponents, he destroys them." Anna looked at her friend calmly. "Do you trust me, Cal?" "Of course, but..." "Then trust that I know what I'm doing." That evening, as she prepared to leave her office, Commander Black made one final appearance. "You could withdraw," he offered, almost kindly. "Cite medical concerns. No one would blame you." Anna looked up at him, finally dropping her mask of weakness for just a moment. "You really should have checked my full military record before making this challenge." For the first time, she saw uncertainty flicker across his cybernetic features. But it was too late. The challenge was set, the paperwork filed, and the arena prepared. As Anna walked back to her quarters that night, she sent one final encrypted message to Earth Command. "Operation Trojan Horse entering final phase. Request permission to demonstrate full capabilities." The response came quickly. "Permission granted. Show them what humanity can do." 3 days, 3 days to prepare, to plan, and to get ready for a fight that would change the balance of power in the Galactic Council forever. The Craxians had wanted a show of force. They were about to get exactly that, though not in the way they expected. In the privacy of her quarters, Anna shed her diplomatic facade like an old coat. Her movements became precise, lethal, as she began her preparation routine. The station's lighter gravity worked to her advantage as she executed a series of complex martial arts forms that would have been impossible for the weak diplomat she pretended to be. Her mind drifted back to her real training days at the Elite Operations Division, a secret branch of Earth's military that few knew existed. The memories were crystal clear: 8 years of intensive combat training, genetic optimization, and specialized conditioning, all hidden beneath layers of falsified records. "Show me nothing," her commander had told her before this mission. "Let them see only what they expect to see." She had followed that order perfectly. Every stumble, every weakness, every moment of apparent incompetence had been calculated. The Craxians had watched her for weeks, seeing exactly what they wanted to see. A soft human diplomat, unsuited for their warrior culture. Anna activated her secure terminal, reviewing the classified files on Commander Black. His cybernetic enhancements were impressive but predictable. Standard Craxian military patterns, enhanced strength, reinforced skeleton. But there was a critical weakness in all Craxian combat technology. They relied too heavily on their improvements, forgetting the importance of natural combat instincts. As she exercised, Anna's augmented muscles moved with fluid grace. Unlike the obvious cybernetics of the Craxians, humanity had perfected subtle biological enhancements. Her strength and speed matched any Craxian warrior, but without the telltale mechanical signs. They had assumed her small frame meant weakness, a mistake they would soon regret. A gentle knock interrupted her training. She quickly pulled on a loose robe before opening the door to find Cal standing there, looking troubled. "I accessed some old records," he said quietly, entering her room. "Your diplomatic credentials. They're perfect. Too perfect." Anna smiled, finally allowing her friend to see a glimpse of her true self. "You're more observant than the Craxians. You're not really a diplomat, are you?" Cal's large eyes studied her with new understanding. "I am now," she replied. "But before this assignment, I spent 8 years as something else entirely." She demonstrated a simple combat move, her speed and precision, making Cal step back in surprise. Earth knew the Craxians were planning something. We needed to know what, but they would never reveal their plans to a species they respected or feared. So we gave them what they wanted to see. A weak human they could dismiss. "The challenge," Cal whispered. "You wanted this to happen." Anna nodded. "Black's challenge gives us a legitimate way to demonstrate human capabilities. When I win, the Council will have to acknowledge Earth as an equal power. The Craxians' plans for expansion will be complicated by the presence of another strong species." She spent the next hour showing Cal some of her true abilities, explaining how humanity had developed in ways the Craxians never suspected. While they focused on obvious mechanical improvements, Earth had pursued subtle biological enhancements, advanced combat techniques, and psychological warfare. "Why tell me this?" Cal asked finally. "Because after tomorrow, the smaller species will need to choose sides," Anna explained. "I want you to know that Earth remembers what it's like to be considered weak. We protect our allies." That night, as the station's lights dimmed to simulate evening, Anna made her final preparations. She reviewed Black's combat footage one last time, analyzed the arena's layout, and practiced the specific moves she would need. In less than 12 hours, she would shatter the Craxians' illusions about human capability. Her muscles were ready, her mind was clear, and her purpose was set. The time for hiding was almost over. As she finally lay down to rest, Anna smiled at the thought of tomorrow. The Craxians wanted a demonstration of strength. They were about to learn that true strength doesn't always come in large, obvious packages. The station's main arena buzzed with anticipation. Delegates from every species packed the viewing galleries, their conversations a mix of excitement and concern. Most were discussing the tragedy they were about to witness, the defeat of a human diplomat by a cybernetically enhanced warrior. Anna stood in the preparation chamber, wearing a simple black combat suit. She had declined the offered armor, causing more whispers about her apparent suicide mission. Commander Black waited on the opposite side of the arena, his cybernetic implants glowing with combat protocols. Lord Vex's voice boomed through the speakers. "This ritual combat will determine Earth's standing in the Galactic Council. Victory must be absolute, either surrender or incapacitation. Death is not permitted, but—" He paused meaningfully. "Accidents happen." Anna stepped into the arena, hearing the collective gasp as everyone saw her choice of minimal protection. Black's metallic laugh echoed across the space. Last chance to withdraw, Lieutenant. I would hate to damage Earth's only representative. She said nothing, taking her position in the starting circle. Her muscles were loose, ready, her mind clear and focused. The arena's artificial gravity had been set to Earth standard, a courtesy it would soon prove to be a mistake. Begin, Lord Vex commanded. Black charged immediately, his enhanced speed making him blur across the arena. It was a standard Craxian opening move, overwhelmed the opponent with superior strength and speed. Anna waited until the last possible moment, then moved. She didn't dodge. She didn't retreat. Instead, she stepped into his charge, her body flowing like water around his attack. Before anyone could process what happened, Black's momentum carried him past her, his strike hitting nothing but air. The arena fell silent. Black turned, his cybernetic eyes recalibrating. Interesting, he growled. You've had some training after all. He launched into a series of powerful strikes, each enhanced by his mechanical improvements. Anna met each attack with precise counters, her movements becoming more fluid and deadly with each exchange. She had spent weeks studying Craxian combat patterns, their reliance on power over technique, their tendency to telegraph enhanced moves, their overconfidence in technology. Impossible, someone whispered in the crowd as she landed her first strike, a precise hit to Black's knee joint that made him stumble. The fight shifted. Black's attacks became more desperate, his cybernetic systems pushing to maximum output. But Anna had been holding back far more than he had. Now she began to show her true capabilities. She moved faster than any unaugmented human could, her strikes targeting weak points in his cybernetic enhancements. Each hit was calculated, designed to demonstrate not just her ability to fight, but humanity's complete understanding of Craxian technology. What are you? Black gasped after she disabled his left arm's enhancements. Anna smiled for the first time since entering the arena. I am humanity's answer to your arrogance. The final sequence was a blur of motion that left the audience stunned. Anna flowed through Black's defenses like they didn't exist, her strikes precise and devastating. In less than 5 seconds, she had disabled his remaining enhancements and pinned him to the ground. Surrender, she said quietly, holding him in a lock that no amount of mechanical strength could break. Black struggled for a moment, his pride warring with reality. Finally, he spoke the words that would change everything. I yield. The arena exploded into chaos. The smaller species delegates were cheering, while the Craxians stood in shocked silence. Lord Vex looked like he had swallowed something extremely unpleasant. Anna helped Black to his feet, maintaining her diplomatic courtesy even in victory. Your cybernetics will reset in about an hour, she told him professionally. No permanent damage. As she walked out of the arena, she caught Cal's eye in the crowd. He was grinning broadly, already understanding what this meant for the future of the Council. The Craxians' plans for expansion would need serious revision, now that humanity had revealed just a fraction of its true capabilities. The game had changed, and everyone knew it. The only question was what the Craxians would do next. The council chamber had never been so quiet. Anna stood at the central platform, no longer relegated to the corner, as she presented her evidence of Craxian military expansion plans. The data flowed across the massive holographic displays, weapon shipments, troop movements, and encrypted communications she had gathered during her weeks of incompetence. These records, she explained calmly, show a systematic plan to dominate smaller council species through military force. The Craxians have been positioning weapons and troops in neutral territories for months. Lord Vex sat rigid in his chair, his scaled skin darkening with rage. You dare accuse. I dare to present facts. Anna interrupted, her voice carrying an authority that would have been unthinkable just days ago. Facts that Earth has been gathering since we first suspected the Craxian expansion plan. My role here was never just diplomatic. Commander Black, still showing signs of his defeat, stood up. You were a spy all along. I was an investigator, Anna corrected. authorized by Council Section 31, which permits covert investigation of threats to galactic stability. The same section you should have read before challenging me to combat. The smaller species delegates were reviewing the evidence on their terminals. Cal stood up, his voice stronger than Anna had ever heard it. The Meyer Confederation confirms these weapon shipments in our sector. We detected them, but were afraid to report them. Other delegates began standing, each confirming pieces of Anna's evidence. The puzzle came together in front of the entire council, a clear picture of planned military aggression. What humanity demonstrated yesterday wasn't just combat capability, Anna continued. We showed that appearances can be deceiving. Strength isn't always visible. Power isn't always obvious. She activated another holographic display, this one showing Earth's true military capabilities. The Craxian delegates shifted uncomfortably as they saw the extent of human technological advancement, all carefully hidden until now. Earth doesn't seek dominance, Anna declared. We seek balance. The Galactic Council was founded on principles of cooperation and mutual respect. Today, we call for a return to those principles. Lord Vex's response was cut off by an unexpected source. Commander Black stood again, his cybernetic enhancements still not fully recovered. She's right, he said, shocking everyone. I served the Craxian military because I believed in strength. Yesterday, I learned that I didn't understand what strength really meant. The next few hours transformed the Council. New security protocols were established, with joint species oversight of military movements. The Craxians, faced with united opposition and Earth's revealed capabilities, had no choice but to accept restrictions on their expansion. Smaller species began approaching Earth for protection agreements. Anna found herself at the center of a diplomatic whirlwind, no longer playing weak, but now demonstrating humanity's genuine desire for peaceful coexistence. You changed everything, Cal told her during a brief break. The Craxians never thought you'd expose their plans so completely. Anna smiled. That's why it worked. They were so convinced of their superiority that they never considered we might be gathering evidence. Sometimes the best weapon is letting your opponent underestimate you. As the session ended, Commander Black approached her. I owe you an apology, he said quietly, and perhaps a debt of gratitude. Your victory. It made me question everything I thought I knew about strength. Humanity learned long ago that true strength comes in many forms, Anna replied. Perhaps now the galaxy can learn that lesson too. The day ended with the Council passing sweeping reforms. Joint military oversight committees were established, with Earth playing a major role. The era of single-species dominance was over. As Anna prepared her report for Earth Command, she reflected on how differently things might have gone if the Craxians had bothered to look past their prejudices. Their assumption of human weakness had been their greatest mistake, one that had transformed the balance of power in the galaxy. Now the real work would begin, building a truly equal galactic community where strength was measured by more than just military might or physical power. 3 months after the challenge that changed everything, the Galactic Council station hummed with a different kind of energy. Species of all sizes moved through the corridors with newfound confidence. The intimidating presence of Craxian guards had been replaced by a mixed-species security force, their diverse uniforms a symbol of the new order. Anna, now serving as Earth's senior representative, sat at her new desk in the main chamber. Her office, located in the heart of the diplomatic section, had become a frequent stop for representatives seeking guidance or support. The trade agreement with the Meyer Systems is ready for final approval, her assistant reported, and the Joint Defense Fleet has completed its first training exercises. The fleet was perhaps the most visible sign of change. Ships from 20 different species working together, sharing technology and tactics. Even some Craxian vessels had joined, their crews learning to work alongside races they once dismissed. Lord Vex had resigned his position, replaced by a more moderate Craxian leader who understood the value of cooperation. Commander Black, surprisingly, had become a valuable ally in bridging the gap between old and new perspectives. The cybernetic enhancement program has been completely revised. Black explained during a council session. We're learning to balance technological advancement with natural abilities. The human approach has proven enlightening. The smaller species flourished under the new system. The Meyer, under Cal's leadership, had developed innovative shield technology that complemented Craxian weapon systems. Other species contributed their unique strengths, creating a network of mutual dependency and respect. You know, Cal said to Anna during one of their now regular lunches, some of us were planning to leave council space before you arrived. We thought it was only a matter of time before the Craxians moved against us. Anna nodded, remembering those tense early days. Fear makes us see everything as a threat. Strength makes us capable of reaching out instead of striking out. The council chamber itself had been redesigned. Gone were the hierarchical seating arrangements that had placed larger species in dominant positions. Now representatives sat in a true circle, each position equal in prominence. Even the station's combat training facility had been transformed. Where once it was a place to demonstrate dominance, now it hosted cross-species training sessions. Anna regularly taught classes, showing how different physical capabilities could be advantages rather than weaknesses. The key is understanding your own strengths, she explained to a mixed group of trainees. Size, shape, natural abilities. They're all tools. The mistake is thinking some tools are inherently better than others. The Craxians, though initially resistant, had begun to adapt. Their military expertise, once used to intimidate, now contributed to the Council's defensive capabilities. Their strength protected rather than threatened. We were wrong about humans, a Craxian general admitted during a security briefing. We saw your size and assumed weakness. We saw your diplomacy and assumed fear. We never considered that you might be strong enough to choose peace. As Anna prepared for another council session, she reflected on how much had changed. The galaxy was learning that true power came in many forms. The Meyer's technological innovation, the Craxians' martial prowess, humanity's adaptability, and countless other strengths from species once dismissed as insignificant. Representative Reed, her assistant, called. The New Earth delegation is arriving. Anna smiled, remembering her own arrival at the station. The new delegates would find a very different council than she had, one where appearance didn't determine worth, where strength was measured by contribution rather than dominance. As she watched the new arrivals, including representatives from several species, she saw no fear in their eyes. They walked with confidence, knowing they would be judged by their abilities and actions, not their size or species. The galaxy was changing, one small step at a time. The lesson of human strength, that power could come in unexpected packages, that true might lay in wisdom as much as force, had sparked a transformation that would ripple through the cosmos for generations to come. And it had all started because some people had thought she was weak.